The Cyberpunk 2077 DLC is finally on the horizon, and CDPR just released a bunch of details about the expansion in the last 24 hours. In this video, we're going to do a deep dive on everything we know about Phantom Liberty, including the lore, story details, and new characters that we saw in the trailer. So buckle up, grab some iced coffee, and let's talk about Phantom Liberty. First and most importantly, when can we play the Cyberpunk expansion, and how much does it cost? Phantom Liberty will be released on Tuesday, September 26th on PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. This is a next-gen only release, so PS4 and Xbox One users are out of luck. The price tag is $30 US, which is pretty hefty for an expansion, but not as expensive as that Dogwater AC Valhalla expansion Dawn of Ragnarok. So let's talk about the story premise and the setting of Phantom Liberty. V is contacted by an NUSA intelligence analyst named Songbird. She promises to help V solve the problem with the Silverhand relic and save V's life if V agrees to complete a mission for her. The mission is to rescue NUSA President Rosalind Myers, whose aircraft was shot down over the lawless zone of Dogtown. This is a new explorable zone east of Pacifica. The area is walled off and completely outside the jurisdiction of Night City authorities. NCPD and Trauma Team don't dare to venture into this zone, and Night City collects no tax revenue from the district. But just because there is no law doesn't mean Dogtown is completely without order, since large parts of the zone are ruled with an iron fist by a warlord named Kurt Hansen. The big bad of Phantom Liberty is a white bald guy. Who could have guessed?
White plus bald equals toxic.
CDPR took inspiration from South American drug lords like Pablo Escobar when creating this character. Hansen controls Dogtown with an iron fist, but he also invests heavily in the community and makes the neighborhood safer by providing military protection. The areas of Dogtown that fall outside of Hansen's control are extremely dangerous and violent, so most residents know to steer clear. Kurt Hansen leads a militarized gang known as Barghest, named after a mythical vicious black dog from English folklore. If you've played The Witcher 1, you'll likely recognize the name, since the Barghest is the first major boss fight of the game, and a gigantic pain in the ass owing to its ability to repeatedly stunlock Geralt with its pain-inducing howl. CDPR really has come a long way in the gameplay department since 2007. Barghest is composed of mostly ex-Militech soldiers who stayed in Night City after the end of the corporate wars. And we see quite a bit of Militech weaponry in the trailer, including a giant spider-like tank known as the Chimera. Interestingly, the developers were pretty coy about whether the Chimera would be an ally or enemy.
Chimera is equipped with all kinds of weapons and might or might not be obstacle on these adventures.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a challenge. We'll see. He just did the eyebrows and that's it. Okay, I get it.
We can certainly expect to see some new weapons and cyberware in this expansion, since CDPR emphasized that Dogtown has a thriving black market, trading goods you cannot find anywhere else in Night City. Phantom Liberty promises to be a spy thriller as V ventures into the belly of the beast to make contact with NUSA sleeper agents like Idris Elba and save the president. So let's talk about the lore behind the NUSA and its president Rosalind Myers, since this will clearly be pivotal to the story of Phantom Liberty. In the Cyberpunk universe, the United States as we know it today suffered a catastrophic economic crisis in the mid-1990s and completely collapsed as a unified political country by the turn of the millennia. Roughly 100 million people would perish in the ensuing chaos that engulfed the former US due to the spread of plagues, nuclear attacks, and ecological disasters. Corporations would fill the power vacuum left by the defunct US government, warring over territory in a series of battles known as the Corporate Wars. Hit the nail right on the head with the name, huh? By the late 2060s, a new power faction sought to reclaim the glory of the former Stars and Stripes, reconstituting the new United States, or NUSA. Many of the key leaders of this new government are made up of Militech corporate officials whose HQ and power base are in Washington, D.C. It's important to note that Night City is independent from the NUSA, so President Myers and the agents we will interact with in Phantom Liberty have little sway in the region, which should make for some interesting conflict. President Myers herself is no pushover since she was a former Marine, so I expect when we meet up with her, she'll be able to hold her own in a fight.
She's a badass actually, but maybe even for her, the whole Barghest forces and, whole Dogtown against her is might be even too much for her. And this is where Vi comes in to help her get out of there. But it's not the only, face of Myers, let's say. She's also a very capable and logically thinking politician. At the same time, she has this human aspect to her, and there will be moments where emotions take over, let's say. So I hope players will find her a complex and interesting character.
But the lack of influence of NUSA is why V will need to make contact with sleeper agents in Dogtown to help complete the mission, which brings me to two other important characters highlighted in the trailer, Solomon Reed and Songbird. Reed is played by Idris Elba, who I mainly remember as Stringer Bell from The Wire. I know he's done other things since then, but that's where I remember him from. Reed is kind of like a CIA agent, specializing in political sabotage and regime changes. And from what we see in the trailer, Reed's loyalties are a bit murky, which may lead to some interesting choices for our protagonist. I'm expecting an option to betray the NUSA, but we'll have to wait and see how things play out. The final major character from the trailer we haven't talked about yet is Songbird, the mysterious NUSA intelligence analyst who contacts V for the job. We get several glimpses of her in the trailer, and according to the devs, she was one of the most divisive characters in terms of personality and motives.
Actually, you played the game, so what was your take on her?
Actually, it's one of the characters that I instantly fell in love with. But I also see that she might be a character that some players might not enjoy, because she also has a lot of layers to her, and the motivations and what she does, and also how she's kind of interacting with V can be seen as helping or maybe not exactly. I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, she seems to be kind of like this divisive character.
Yeah, and actually we had plenty of internal tests. Our whole, not only dev team, but everyone in the studio playing the game.
True.
And we're asking people how they felt about different characters. And in regards to Songbird and actually many other characters, which I'm very happy about, she was divisive. Some people were like, "Oh, I just sympathize with her so much. She's my kind of person," and others were like, "I absolutely don't understand her and don't want to support her in any way." And I think it's great. Actually, I'm really happy about it because I think really good characters don't have to be exactly always likable. You have to be able to understand them and empathize with them. You don't have to like them. And it's just like with real people, right? It's not like everyone likes everyone. We are different.
Exactly.
And this is where the magic is, I think, of being real.
One big question I have for the DLC is, will it alter the ending of Cyberpunk 2077? Mainly, will V finally get that silver bullet solution that allows the protagonist to survive the end of the game and separate from Johnny without dying? My gut feeling is that this won't change V's fate, but who knows? It wouldn't be the first time an RPG led to a different ending with its DLC. Fallout New Vegas did it, and Mass Effect 3 sort of did it too. So maybe we can get a happier ending for V in Phantom Liberty. But given the themes of the cyberpunk genre and the overall tone of the game, somehow I doubt it. One final looming question for the Cyberpunk expansion is, how much content can we expect in Phantom Liberty? CDPR has said previously that this is their biggest budget expansion to date, but they've been coy when comparing it to The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine in terms of runtime and region size. Since they hired Idris Elba and Keanu Reeves to play major characters in the expansion, I imagine a lot of their budget went to that. But we can expect to see some side content outside of the main quest in the DLC, including new gigs, courier jobs, and side missions. CDPR will be releasing more gameplay reveals in the lead up to September, so I hope we can learn a bit more about the new gameplay features and content, because for right now we basically only have some rough story details to go on. So there you have it, everything we know about the Phantom Liberty expansion so far. What do you think of the upcoming Cyberpunk DLC? Are you excited, cautiously optimistic, or planning to skip it entirely? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to Big Dan Gaming for more Cyberpunk and RPG videos. Big shout out to all the channel members for supporting my content. Until next time, this has been Big Dan. I should go.